Hello, Internet. We have RTX 6000 Pro that came in for repair with some knocked off components according to the customer. So let's take it apart, see what's inside. Oop, can't use a regular screwdriver. Gotta use the NVIDIA specific screwdrivers from China. Okay, flip that over. Before I take this out, customer said something knocked off. So we're gonna be looking into that. I just had an A6000. Someone tried to fix it with the super glue. It suffered a major damage over here, an impact, I would imagine. So much damage that the PCB in here delaminated, and for some reason there were no ripped pads under the core, but the pins were sliced in half. How much damage there was, and so with that much damage, the core would not power on. I mean, it would power on, but it would glow very strangely at the bottom, near the bottom of the core, where the impact came from. So I concluded a dead core, fortunately. Okay, why is this one coming apart all funny? Yeah, a little bit different design here from the what I expected to see. All right, so how did this come apart? I have not seen this variation yet. Is it like a Max Q or something? I don't know. I've seen Max Q, but this isn't it. This is something else. This is like a server edition or something. I don't know. Model PG153A, whatever that means. I'm struggling to understand how this thing comes apart. I'm guessing that there are pads at the bottom here, and it's just stuck, and we just need to get it unstuck because I see no other screws. Oh, yes, I remember seeing this. Okay, so the way this comes out is like this. Yes, there you go. It just slides right out, and the pads are the bottom there, as you can see here. And somebody had already tampered with this, obviously. This garbage is over there. And hopefully, it's every time somebody touches the GPU, other than me, not bragging here, just stating a fact. The chances of a successful repair dropping like 50%. Unless you just open it, look at it, put it back in, call it a day. After being overwhelmed with the amount of components on the board or whatever, the success of the repair drops about 25%. Why? Because taking it apart can have unintended consequences, such as knocked off components that the person taking it apart doesn't even realize that had occurred. So, if you don't know what you're doing, please don't. All right, so we got these. Oh my God, it's gonna be a nightmare trying to figure out these pads. These pads are. So I'm guessing we had a water block, because these pads are not normal, and not to mention the film. The film is still on the pads, so they weren't even cooling anything. Like, how are you supposed to? How are you expecting them to do anything if the film is still on them? I don't know. Just beyond me. I don't care. Just doing my thing here. Not easily removed, so my guess customer kind of interpreted that as it's all good. Probably the way it is. I don't know. I just work here. Knocked off components, he said. Yeah, we need to figure out what is it that he knocked off and where. I usually the coils getting knocked off on these cards, but not on this specific model, I would imagine. So these are here, still there. Oh yes, there's one coil there. Okay, I got you. I see it. Just like he said, he was right. Finally, customer didn't lie. We're missing a coil here, so the GPU is not going to post. Or if it will post, it will likely crash shortly after. So, all right, so we can even probably give it a try and see what happens before we go into repair. So, first order of business, I want to power this thing on, see what it does. Actually, no, I want to check for all the resistances and make sure there's nothing shorted here. So, we're going to be staring at my prehistoric multimeter. There's our multimeter. So let's see what we got on memory. 3.5. Don't know what this is. Most likely either 1.8. That's probably 1.8. Specs and 12 volts somewhere here. There's not a fuse inside, so yeah, don't even think you're getting any kind of blowout protection. That's NVIDIA for you. Oh, there's a fuse right there. Yeah, it's not really a fuse. It's a shunt resistor. Acting as a fuse. So it doesn't even have a liability fuse. A liability fuse would be the one that would be between these pins and between the rest of the board to protect your motherboard from blowing out or getting your PCI Express slot burnt out if something gets shorted on the look like a driver MOSFET on the board itself. So I call that a liability fuse, and that's like the minimum requirement. They don't even put that here because I don't care. And neither do I. The more they blow, the more work I get. So thank you. All right, so clean up this mess, whatever this is. Uh, I'll clean it up later. Right now, I just want to make sure that we can get it powered. and that there are no issues with the voltages at the very least. So that's going to go here. Thermal camera is going to be our spotter. If there's any issues, we'll be able to spot that long before they do any damage. And nothing. There's no power. Oh, there's power. There's some power. Okay, so there's some power on the board, which is kind of interesting. Okay. I don't think I had a problem with the slot. I doubt that. There might be. Yeah, there's nothing. Cool. Okay, so we can look around here. I'm guessing this is just a controller getting powered. Something's here. I don't see anything incriminating on the back other than that one U gate here, whatever that U gate is. Okay, we'll take a look at it a little bit closer. So let's have a look. The knocked off components, and that's all it was, he said. And now we got a whole problem. And that problem just exponentially grew because where are you going to find board view for this card? Nowhere. No schematics, no diagrams, nothing. Thanks to NVIDIA, these things are ridiculously or incredibly difficult to fix because of the lack of resources. So all I can do right now is to let me see if I have any kind of short. No, short here. 3.3 is okay. Yeah, 3.3 is okay. I gotta figure out what's what in here. So this is specs. Obviously, we're not gonna have that. 5 volt probably gonna be here somewhere. No, not here. Here. Okay, we got 5. So whatever this is, I don't know what this is. This. So we don't have this. We don't have that. So either one of these could be whatever. But we do need to know which one's which though. Obviously nothing on PEX. Obviously nothing on memory. Yes. And so we gotta figure out what else has been knocked off. So let's have a look around the board, see if maybe we can find another component that's broken off, knocked off accidentally by the person trying to either repair this or whatever. So hopefully we can find it. It looks like some damage here. As you can see here, somebody trying to solder something in here definitely. Most likely like a capacitor. I can just ignore that. But the fact that we see this here already points to a problem. All right, I don't see anything here. Let's flip this thing over. Take a look on the back. Maybe there's something on the back, like a small resistor or something. Looks like a little bit of damage here as well. All right, looks like some damage in here. For whatever reason, they needed to solder here. I don't know what they were doing. But I'm guessing it's going to be one of them enable signals that are either missing or something. Okay, so a couple of more ripped off components. So these are probably caps. I would imagine that they are going to be exactly the same. So, and that's it. So we can probably have a look and see if we're actually getting 12 volt in here past that shunt resistor. Yeah, we do. Okay, so what do we have? What do we have on this end of the capacitor? Nothing. And we would have nothing, obviously, on this end either. Okay, so these are, let's go take some measurements of these capacitors if we can. So I'm guessing it's like 100 nanofarads. 93 plus minus 10%. So I'm guessing it's 100 nanofarads. So they're all going to be the same. And so on here, nothing else really. Right, so then we need to figure out what's going on in here. What is all this? Why was somebody here? Why does this register look like it's not factory? Okay, no idea. This is like the most suspicious place of them all right now. Because we could have enable for 1.8 coming all the way from here. So let's see. Right, so according to my cheat sheet here, or a photo rather, we do have this resistor and a diode. So there's no diode here basically. And we need to find the diode and solder it down there. So the diode is definitely gone. All right, let's go and remove this resistor, whatever this thing is. I want to measure it. Put it here for now. I want to see what the value of this resistor is. It looks like it's 1K. So I would imagine that will be a valid reading, or at the very least it's safe. Let's put that resistor back where it came from, not knowing whether or not it needs to be there to begin with, like so. And now let's try to figure out what is in here. So there's no short, so obviously we're going to have some kind of voltage on either of these pads. So let's see if we have some kind of voltage on here. Nothing here, and we got 3.3 volt here. Okay, so all we need to do now is to find a diode somewhere. And I'm just going to steal one off of the some kind of a donor board that I got laying around here. Here it is. Put that there, and that's it. Let's see if we get voltage on this pin now. Yep, we got a voltage. So how do I know which way the diode needed to be installed? I'll zoom in here really quick so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. This particular diode, see how it's got these lines? Get a little bit of different lighting here. See how it's got these little lines here at the bottom? So if the voltage is coming in here, then you want these lines on the other end, basically. So it's coming in here and it exits out this way. So this line it marks the cathode. So voltage coming in from the anode and the top, and it ends up at the cathode. And as a result of that, let me go back in here just by replacing the diode that we stole from this EVGA. Thank you, EVGA. You served your purpose very well. We now have, still don't remember what voltage is supposed to be getting here. 1.3, so that's probably 1.2. And then this one here, 1.8. So it reads 1.9, but that's because it's powered through here. So 1.2, 1.8. And then in here, hex and memory. Perfect. All right, so what I want to do now is, like I said, it might boot without that coil. Who knows? Let's give it a try. See if it does. Most likely it will, but it's going to eventually crash or something, so it's not going to work. If it posts, it's not going to work for very long. We need some display port, and here we go. All right, one happy beep. I see nothing on the screen for whatever reason. Maybe I missed something. The GPU does seem to be working fine, according to my thermal view. So let's turn it off. I'm going to try maybe a different port. Okay, I'm going to try a different port now. Reconnect everything. Make sure everything's connected. Power cable, PCI Express, everything seems to be connected. So it could be one of those that just doesn't want to work through the riser. Who knows? I'll try to power it in directly through the PCI Express slot. If it doesn't work, still nothing. So the post codes are going. It's not hanging or anything. So that means the GPU is likely to be detected. It just does not want to post. So I guess we need to solder that coil in there after all, and hopefully that will be it. So let's do that real quick and see if it works. Now I also see this near the hook. There's some kind of wear and tear in here. Could be damage. We might end up rebolling the chip because it's so close to the general area, or even this one, or even the core. Who knows? Hopefully not. But right now we're gonna focus on that coil, or what's left of it. Need to remove whatever's pads that were left. The coil is obviously gone, and the pads have been left behind. So get rid of those. There we go. Now imagine I did all of this without the preheater. What will that look like? It will be terrible. I'm gonna go ahead and clean that up. There we go. Let's bring in another coil. Gonna look a little different, but it'll work just the same. There we go. It just soldered by itself. I didn't do anything. Okay, cool down, clean up as usual, and then we'll see. Okay, card cool down. We'll do the cleanup later. Right now, I want to see if this thing will actually post this time. Here goes the cooler, the display port. Everything's connected. Everything is looking good. Here we go. Hopefully we'll get a picture this time. Nope, no picture. Okay, turn it off. Let's go into memory test. See if we can run a memory test on this thing, on this old computer. Not the oldest one in the world. I recently upgraded to kind of Maximus Hero thing, whatever. All right, so let's go see if LSPCI is actually showing us the thing, and looks like it does. Okay. Not exactly sure which one to use. I can probably try this one here. If we can run mods. Don't know if it's going to run on this code or not. PCI device not found. Of course, it's not found. Yeah, this test is not supporting it. So let's go back to menu. Let's try this one here. PCI device not found. Okay, so let's go reboot. Let's go into Windows, see if we can detect this thing with an error code 43 of some sort, or maybe we have more ripped coils. Who knows? Gonna have to look. All right, so the driver installed. We got error code 12. Not enough free resources, so that's a BIOS issue. Let's go and restart. And I think we need to force UFI or just do UFI, and then we also need to enable 4G decoding, if I'm not mistaken. So let's have a look. CSM, that's the one that we need to disable. And that should be it. Let's try, see if that works. Okay, I'm gonna shut down, and I'm going to plug DisplayPort and see if that fixes it. Oh, that sounded like a BIOS error to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and try this directly into the slot and see if that works. And here goes nothing. That still sounds like a BIOS issue. So I might need to enable 4G decoding. I don't know. I'm gonna do that next. Right, here's 4G. Let's enable that. Save and reset. Gonna have to reconnect the GPU. Right, let's turn that off and try that thing again. Thought I had that enabled. I don't know why. Don't know why it's not. All right, here goes nothing. Still complaining. Very interesting. Very interesting. Why does it complain? I wonder what could possibly be wrong in here. Oh, yes. All right. I remember we had some capacitors missing. I highly doubt that replacing them will do anything, but worth a try. If I'm not mistaken, these go straight into the display port. So let's get those fixed up really quick. These were 100 nanofarads. Let's see what we got here. Need some pad. Gonna take that one and one more. There we go. There's one. I am almost happy with that. Not quite. Want a little bit more solder on there just to be sure. Much better now. And perfect. Now we need to clean that up, secure that, and solder the caps. All right, where are we? We are right there. Secure that. Okay, that should hold, I think. And we're gonna steal those capacitors from a donor board. I'm just gonna tin pads really quick. There we go. And let's bring in these caps from the donor. There's one, and there's two. All right, get that clean. We might have a little bit of alcohol seeped under the memory chip or this NXP, whatever this thing is. Don't know what this chip is and what it does. No idea. My only hope is that it's not damaged in any way, so I would not know. We see a significant damage in here. Not sure how significant it may be at this point, but definitely but too close to that chip. So who knows? Right. I don't think there's anything else. There was one capacitor at the front of the board that we could totally ignore. But as far as everything else, I'm gonna plug this straight into the motherboard to see if it makes any change. I also have not checked all the phases though. That could cause problems as well. Okay, so let's go into building it up, see what it does. Probably nothing. Oh, it's doing the exact same thing. So turn it off. What is going on here? I have no idea at this point. So I'm gonna go ahead and check for all of the power, and the thing with that is it's going to be a little bit difficult to do because how difficult it is to access all these coils the way that they are made. There's hardly any solder exposed on the side that I could get into. Also, where's the BIOS chip anyway? I do not know where the BIOS chip in here is. This could be a BIOS chip, but you know what? That could be the BIOS chip. Better than usual, but it could be. Who cares? All right, let's poke around, see if we have all the voltages here. Bring in the voltmeter. There's a fancy voltmeter. All right, do we have? And I can't even get to here. Okay, we got memory. Okay, so that's good. We already checked for packs. Yes. What are these coils here that are incredibly difficult to get to? That's also memory. But here, also memory. What about you? Okay, so that's a core. That's good. What's in here? So that's okay. Well, how do we go about testing the phases for this thing? I want to test that particular one that we had been replacing, and right when I do, I end up I end up with this. So now we need to fix this. The oscilloscope probe decided to break the wire off. Perfect timing. All right, so that looks ugly. That off. Let's see if we can fix this somehow. Maybe I can just wick all this solder off of there. That kind of worked. Oh, look at that. All right, who cares? Solder another one here. And I don't know if do I want to seal it up? I don't care. It's at the end of the probe, so it's at the probe. I don't care. Okay, so that goes back in. So it's gonna go into the ground or something. And let's see if I can actually get in there. Oh, I gotta turn on the oscilloscope. Okay, here's the scope. Let's see if we can. So I got. Well, that's on the output of the coil. What about here? It is incredibly, almost impossible to get to that. Let me show you what I mean, what I'm struggling here with. So you'll see. You'll see the pain I have to go through. So I cannot get to that coil because it's like obstructing. Maybe I can get a reading like this. Okay, there we go. Signal here. Get a signal here. Good. See what I'm dealing with? I have to get in there somehow. And it's super difficult. See, like this one can't even register it. Yep, I'm gonna have to do something with that probe. I gotta sharpen it or something. I don't know. It's just too thick. So I'm gonna go and sharpen it out or something. All right, so I'm just gonna measure it at the driver MOSFET. This pin here. There we go. Wait, shouldn't that be memory? Let's see. What are we getting here? This one looks weird. Do a recall. Why does it look so weird? This is supposed to be a memory, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if I can measure this. What kind of resistances are we getting on that? Yeah, that's a memory. Why does it look so funny though? Look at this. So it would be here. Wait a minute. I'm getting nothing at all on this one. There's nothing. So this one's got nothing. And then this one, okay, so this one works now all of a sudden. That's sketchy. So this works. Okay. What about this one? Oh, that works as well for whatever reason. Interesting. It makes me wonder if this coil is halfway broken off or this one. I wouldn't know unless I try to break it. Let's see if I can measure it again. Okay, so it looks like we do get a signal, just not easy to get to it. Okay, never mind. Continue on. So here we're going to be measuring the bottom. That's good. Good. I don't think we're going to have any power issues here, though. I think the problem is somewhere else. Something else is knocked off. I don't think it's a BIOS either. Something else. It could actually be the core related. I wouldn't know. It could actually be a memory error since we were unable to test for the memory. Okay, so these two are 12. These two are 12. Okay. You know what? Let's do this. Let's go back into Windows and see if we've resolved the error code 12 problem that we originally had. And if that's now resolved and we're getting an error code 43, then we're going to be dealing with that. Let's deal with one error at a time, basically, is what I'm trying to say. No, I don't need that. Doesn't even see my drives. Okay, that's because the CSM is disabled. Let's do automatic. Let's see if that changes. I think we're gonna have to go into the UEFI windows for this to work. I don't know. But if that was the case, the GPU should have posted if it was working. But we'll see. I do have a UEFI version of the Windows that I can just plug in and go from there. But first, let's see what the device manager says. Yeah, it still says the exact same thing. Error code 12. Okay, let's try UEFI Windows 10, which I should have on this drive. Let's flip it in and see if that helps. All right, let's go in here. I'm going to disable the CSM just to be sure, even though it says automatic. Just want to disable it just to be sure. All right, there's Windows Boot Manager. I think we're loading into Windows 11 or something. I'm not exactly sure. This was a laptop version, and we might have to install the drivers, and we might even have to wait. Yeah. Oh, found another drive. Okay, found a different drive. Okay, let's shut this thing down, remove that drive, and try this one. Should have had it labeled. Should have had it labeled. This was supposed to be an easy knocked off component replacement. And here we are, almost 2 hours in, nonstop, and still no result. All right, the Terminator is back. We're gonna have to install the driver, obviously. Okay, so we're gonna go in here, drivers. No, that's not desktop drivers. Workstation. I don't even have that. Wait a minute. Data center drivers. Okay, there we go. That's what I want. Kind of makes me wonder if I still have to switch to PCI Express Gen 5 to the newer motherboard instead of running this on this old dinosaur. I don't know. I haven't had any issues with 5090s so far, so given the same architecture of the core, I'm assuming it shouldn't really matter. So if this does not work, I'm going to be trying that next. All right, so drivers installed, and we are greeted with the exact same error, I'm guessing. Error code 12. Okay, so cannot find enough free resources I can use. Yeah. All that resource related thing is not a BIOS. I'm gonna try a different PC. All right, I don't think this thing's going to boot right away, but who knows? Maybe all it needs is a new PCI Express slot. Who knows? Oh, I need a memory stick in here. Cannot do it without the memory. Here's a memory stick for your entertainment. And let's see. Let's see if this thing will boot. It'll take a while for the memory to train. Memory training failed. Right, so that didn't work, but I think I found something else. Something else is missing here. See that missing component above the diode to the right of the U gate or whatever this thing is. Let's see if there's supposed to be something in there. There. So there's supposed to be a resistor here. What would the value of that resistor be? It's a very good question. Is there a way to figure this out? I have no idea. Okay. At the very least, we found something else. So maybe I can find something. I just need to find a card that looks similar to this and possibly identify that component. So that most likely will never happen. So we're just gonna have to play around and see what we can do about this. I do not know what that particular signal would be for. There's some damage here as well that I did not see before. This one's damaged also. So I don't know. It could just be a capacitor. Who knows? I'm guessing it's just a cap, so we might even ignore that. So let's see. Is this a ground? That's a ground. Okay, so just a filtering cap for the output of this guy. Yeah. So I don't know. Looks like a 0 ohm here. I don't know what else it could be. Oh, there's a BIOS chip. There you go. Took a while to find it for whatever reason. It sounds like it's a BIOS issue, but it's not. I can't even get this thing to boot. Wait, what are those? Why are these covered with flux? No idea. So I'm gonna look around, see if I can figure this out. Is that something or is that nothing? Looks like a piece of wire. I don't know. Why is it sitting between the two capacitors on this oscillator? A bit sketchy. Though this wouldn't be the first one that I saw here. I don't really know what else to think. Everything else looks okay-ish. I don't see any damage anymore other than this one place here, whatever that was. And then I actually did find a couple of scrapes on the back. Yeah, like this resistor here scraped. I don't know if it's damaged or not. Something else was scraped also. This one here a little bit. This here, whatever that is. Yeah, but other than that, this is it. I do not see anything else anywhere except that, of course. But and I don't know if they replaced anything in here. What is the soldering iron here? What was it for? What were they trying to solder in here? I really wish no one touched this thing before I touched it. So looks like this cap here scraped a little bit. None of this would have been significant. The only significant part is someone tried to fix it. That's like killer number one. You want your GPU non-repairable? Try to fix it. Then send it to me and I will tell you that you killed it. What is this, like a 10 grand GPU? 15? I don't know. It sounds like it's a motherboard problem, not the GPU. It just, I don't know. Can't wrap my head around this. Why does it not post? It should post, but it doesn't. Even with that error code, it should still post, but it doesn't want to post. Yeah, it's just not posting. Makes me wonder if this is going to be one of those enthusiasts taking the GPU, flashing it with whatever BIOS, taking it like a Max Q version, and then they're flashing it with a regular 6000 Pro BIOS to push the performance. That would be really annoying if that's what happened. If that's what happened, we're gonna have to reflash the BIOS. Even though the GPU did identify correctly, that does not mean there may not be a problem with the BIOS. So an interesting thing about the BIOS of this chip is that the version that I got off of this chip, I could not find this version BIOS anywhere. It almost like it doesn't exist. Even with the unverified uploads, it's still not recognized. So hopefully, just flashing some sort of a server edition BIOS, which by the way is the only available version that's verified from the Tech Power app. Hopefully that fixes it. If not, I don't know. It sounds like it's a BIOS issue, judging by the way that the motherboard is reacting to it. But since we're able to go into BIOS, into the Windows and see that it's complaining about the resources, it's almost like it's a CSM 4G decoding issue or the motherboard issue rather than the GPU. And it completely refuses to boot on a newer motherboard. So it's kind of strange the way it behaves. And hopefully, all this is improper BIOS file. I mean, what are the chances of the BIOS being all screwed up? Who knows? I don't know. One other thing that also bothers me is that when it powers, the memory chips do not seem to be glowing the way I expect them to glow for whatever reason. Let me show you what I mean. Maybe they will glow now. Who knows? So they're supposed to glow like really bright, and you would see like 2 rows of heat signature. But if we do it now, I mean they kind of do, but very briefly, and I can't really see them glowing like very distinctively. So I don't know. Let's try. Let's try one more time. See if that works. So it could but I mean the signals all look fine, so I don't know. It could be that the core is not talking to the memory for whatever reason. Maybe we need a reball. I don't know. If this does not work now, then I'm gonna do a reball. Because I am out of options right now. Nope, that just sounds like the PC just shut itself down for whatever reason. I didn't do nothing. Why'd you shut down? That was weird. Yeah, it's doing this thing, and that's it. Okay, reball it is. I've spent enough time with this. So the only thing that really bothers me is this chip here. I don't know what this chip is, what does it do, and what could possibly be wrong with it. So, all right, the immediate concern with the reball that I'm running into is this compound, whatever this thing is. It is rock hard. I cannot separate this. See this? It is ridiculously hard. I don't know how am I supposed to separate the core from the board with this on. It is rock hard, but I'm gonna try anyway. My hope is that maybe flux will sip under. Highly unlikely, but I don't know. This is just, I've never seen anything as hard as this. So how am I supposed to be getting that off? I don't think this was meant to be removable, so. uh, yeah, whatever this stuff is, I just can't get this off. It's rock hard. Just cannot get it off. If I cannot get it off, I cannot remove the core. I cannot remove the core. I cannot rebuild the core. So with that said, we're done with this repair. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. Because I cannot get this thing off the board. There's no way. There's absolutely no way that I can get this off. And all I'm doing right now is basically a reflow, which I highly doubt is going to help. And it might actually make things worse, as it usually does. So, but we got nothing to lose here, so might as well get this thing, give it a reflow, and hopefully the owner of this card would learn a lesson not to try to repair something like this, and instead send it to a professional right away. Because it seems to me that trying to get these things fixed by yourself doesn't seem to pay off very well. This thing is so hard. I can't. It just completely refuses to budge. Not even a sign of movement whatsoever. Not even a sign. So I'm hoping that this will solve the issue. Highly doubt it, but you never know. All right, so looks like the memory chips are loose. So that tells me that temperatures probably reached what they needed to be reached. So I'm gonna let this one cool down. And hopefully this is it. If I end up shorting the NVVDD or the MSVDD or the memory with all that reflow, I absolutely hate reflow. Reflow usually does more damage than good. Then I don't really know how to get off this core, how to get the core off the board. There's so much of that stuff, and it just does not want to come off. And I am risking damaging the board with everything I try. So prying it off the board is not an ideal situation when everything is hot. So not exactly sure what to do at this point. All right, we're done with a failed attempt of removing the core. This whatever this stuff is, it just won't budge even at the reflow temperatures. Just does not work. So hopefully whatever temperatures were applied to the core may have reflown it a little bit. Hopefully no issues were created with that reflow. Most of the time it creates problems, so I do not reflow ever unless I rebuild it recently myself. So I have to know what's under the balls. So what's gonna happen now? I have no idea. Okay, so we're still powering on. That's good. What I still don't see is I mean, if you look at the memory chips, you can see that they're not distinctly glowing, and almost as if the GPU just does not talk in the memory. I don't know why that is. Normally when I power this thing on, though we're not really powering this thing on by PC, not yet anyway. But we've done that before, and it still would not show me what I want to see. The heat signatures usually it seems to me that something is wrong with the memory. Can't really put my finger on it. I'm starting to think, what if another coil is also faulty? So it might be worth checking that out. So, but we're gonna get there eventually. So let's see if we can still if it makes any change. If it doesn't, we'll go to Windows and see if it's still there. Hopefully, same as before. And then I'm gonna poke around those coils because there's no way that I can tell if the signal is coming after the coil. Because once it goes after the coil, I can check the signal before the coil, but after, I would have no idea because the after is all shared across everywhere. So I would not be able to tell. And I'm looking at the thermal camera. It's doing the exact same thing. I see what's no difference whatsoever. The memory chips are not glowing. Its motherboard is beeping. So let's go into Windows. Let's go into Windows and see what it says. Probably the same thing. If it shows the same thing, at the very least, theoretically, we have not done anything wrong to the GPU. All right, so the thing has given me this error, whatever that error means. I swear I already had that changed. Not sure why it needed to tell me that one more time. CSM was disabled. Wait, why are you booting from the... I don't want this. Go back. I had the CSM disabled. Why is it... Do I need to enable it? I don't think so. Hold on a second. Drive just partially dislodged from the slot. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah, I got that one. Okay, I don't care. Can I just boot from the drive, please? Let me see what the CSM's. Oh, CSM's is enabled. So legacy. Other devices, expansion devices, legacy only. Why? Let's go into here. Let's see what the Windows says. I'll play with the CSM one more time later. All right, so here we are. Do we have a device manager? Device manager. Basic adapter. PCIe. Okay, so the thing is not even detecting anymore. Or is it? Okay, so is it? Is that what it is? I don't know. Might have to wait for the drivers to initialize for whatever reason. Or maybe we can reinstall the drivers. All right, wonderful. So the installer doesn't even recognize this card anymore. Okay, that's just great. Wonder if the GPU-Z would read anything. Probably not going to recognize it to begin with. Yeah, doesn't know what the graphics card is. Microsoft. Okay, GPU. Okay. Shut this thing down. Maybe the BIOS that we flashed is wrong. So I'm gonna revert the original BIOS and try again. Actually, no. We wanted to disable the CSM. See what happens. It's behaving differently now. It's just not recognizing it altogether. So let's go ahead and disable CSM. Yes, reset. Maybe it's worth trying on an actual server board. I do have one sitting around. Yeah, it's still doing the same thing. Yep, code 31. Okay, so this is definitely a BIOS issue. Let's shut this thing down and reflash the BIOS real quick. Hopefully this is it. Okay, flash the BIOS. I have not tried anything yet. I wonder if it makes any sense to check this U gate. If it's a U gate, I don't know. Let's see if it's a U gate. If I get a ground here, it's a U gate. Where's the ground? Where is ground on this thing? Okay, so do you have a ground here? No. This is not a U gate. This is something else. Oh, it is U gate. Never mind. This is the ground. Okay, so I don't know if this U gate's supposed to come alive when something gets powered on, probably a display port or something. Is it the same thing? UV something something rather. I would imagine it's the same thing. So let's see if it's the same thing. Yeah, most likely it's gonna be the same. Maybe just a different part number. But good old U gate. What about here? Yep, just another U gate. So I want to see if this U gate's actually working. Though I think it should. Yeah, it should. It's supposed to be a working U gate because we had an output. So that's going to be the output, and that's a pull down resistor to the ground, and then that would also be a pull down resistor most likely, not a capacitor. And then we did have an output, so I have no reason to suspect this. So this one's definitely working. And BIOS is reflashed. We can probably go ahead and see if we can boot this thing. Who knows? Maybe it'll work this time. I already told the customer all the bad news that I'm having with this thing, that I'm unable to remove the core. There were a lot of damaged components. So he's kind of expecting it to be a no fix, but I really want to get it fixed. So let's see what this thing does. Yeah, still the exact same beep, beep, beep. But we're going to go into Windows and we want to see if we are having an error code 12 like we did before. My only concern at this point is that if we're not getting error code 12, then something else is wrong. Could be the resistor next to the BIOS chip that got moved accidentally, or there's something under the core that the reflow had done that made it worse. There's no way for me to know because, okay, so we got it. Perfect. We're back with error code 12. Cannot find enough free resources that can use. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and run this on a server because I am under the impression that this thing is just not going to run here. So I guess it's just not going to run on a Windows machine, or not Windows, but a desktop gaming PC basically. So my plan right now is to put it all together. Kind of funny, we might have fixed it already and we just don't know about it. I'm gonna put it together, put some fresh pads on here, and go into and put it in a server on a server board and see what that does. My only hope is that it would be too complicated to get this thing up and running on a server board, but who knows? All right, so here's my server board. Got my NVMe installed. See if we can boot off of it. I just want to boot. We have no graphics adapter here, so all right, let's see. What do we got? I'm gonna try to boot off of this old XFX 580. That, and I need mouse and keyboard and this thing here. Let's see. Let's see if this thing boots. If it boots, then we're gonna try that other guy. All right, there we go. Perfect. We're gonna go make sure the time is correct. Who cares? Okay, shut down. Let's get rid of this Old dinosaur. We got a latch there. Of course we do. Stupid latch was created to break this motherboard. All right, here goes our 6000 Pro. Hopefully, hopefully that's all we really needed. And the display port. Let's see if that works. I'm not gonna be hearing any noises coming out of this motherboard because it doesn't have a speaker, but we'll see. I think it's stuck at D2. Nope, it went through. Okay, it shut itself down, booted itself up for whatever reason. Probably some CSM tweaks. I'm not sure. It keeps rebooting again. Not exactly sure what it's doing. Why it does not want to boot. It pauses on D2 and then it just cycles. I'm guessing. Stuck at AB or A6. I'm gonna try to add an additional power. Maybe it needed that. ATX 12V2. Is that PCIe? No, that's not PCIe. Alright, let's try again. D2, D6, and A6. Okay, so that didn't help. It is not the motherboard issue. It is definitely the GPU. Okay, I have to undo all of this. All right, one other thing I can tweak before I completely give up. I saw a setting somewhere, something about the allocating memory. Is that it? By the internal graphics. Okay, oh, never mind. Something else. Okay, so nothing worked. I did a little bit of reading and I'm going to do something really quick. And if that works, we're back at my regular testing motherboard. If that works, please do not comment below with a timestamp saying here's the fix. I want everyone to watch this video all the way to the end and just get tired of it, but eventually finding the fix. Okay, so we're gonna go into PowerShell. PowerShell, that's admin, obviously. And so we need to run the command. Okay, NVIDIA SMI. Failed to initialize, not found. Why? We have the thing there, yeah. Okay, so okay, let's do command prompt then. Fail to initialize NVLM NVML. Why does it say fail to initialize? Okay, that's weird. Let's go do some more reading, I guess. All right, so CSM disabled, 4G decoding enabled, driver removed, reinstalled. We still got the error code, obviously. Yes, same error code. Okay, let's see what it does now. Nope, it's doing the exact same thing. It's not finding the thing. I do not know why that is. If we open GPU-Z, that thing probably doesn't even recognize it, though it might. Yep, it doesn't even know what it is. Yep, this one's not recognizing it. This one's not recognizing it. Can't even read the BIOS version from here. So it almost like it's a BIOS issue, but the GPU-Z may not be able to read the BIOS off of this thing. Anyway, very interesting and depressing. All right, so I ended up plugging this thing back into the server motherboard. We have no errors anymore, but I want to run the command prompt. NVIDIA, SMI. All right, so good. So now we have to figure out whether or not this is set to compute only so that we can switch it back and actually get this thing to do something. Hold on a sec. Let me see if I can open the GPU-Z. I need to bring in some of the content in here. Wait, so I want these guys. I probably want this, maybe FarMark, maybe this thing, and I think that's all I really do. Now I need to figure out what to do in here. All right, so I think what we need to do is NVIDIA SMI I0 DM0. Okay, we're not doing any zeros. Not lock this off. 0 DM0. Okay, so I think that's how it works. Let's see what that does. Unable to set driver mode, not supported. Okay, what about, well, it's listed under 0, so I'm not exactly sure what the deal is. Okay, so, oh, wait a minute. So I need to change this to 1. Okay, driver mode is already set. Okay, that's good. Wait a minute, what? Never mind. VDDM. That's what we need to do. Okay, unable to set. Okay, it says it's unable to set. Not supported. Treating as warning and moving on. All done. Okay, VDDM. Yeah, that's what I did. Oh, okay, so it should have been 0. So when we're doing 0, it says not supported. When we're doing 1, it says already set to TCC. Interesting. All right, I don't care. I think this doesn't really matter. I don't think this can be changed. So we're just gonna have to look at the stats see if we can run this thing. Actually, I wanted to test if we could run. There was a one test that I wanted to run. Why is it not here? It's not this. It's not this. I might have to bring it in. So let's see. All right, there we go. It's finally able to read all the good stuff. So we're good. Except that this thing doesn't really understand what this is and what it does. I'm gonna change resolution here really quick. We're running on a an RX 580 as a primary GPU, and we cannot change anything because Windows is not activated. Can we run this? No, I don't think we're going to be able to run anything without installing. I don't know. I don't think it's going to let me run anything, though it might. I think we have to install the primary graphics card in order for this thing to actually run, but we're going to try anyway. And I think we have it fixed after all. It's just that it took me hours to realize that it's already fixed. And all of that work, other than replacing knocked off components, identifying faulty diode, was a waste of time. But regardless, I think this video is still going to be great because experience is experience, whichever way it was acquired through a painful waste of energy and time. So who cares? Yeah, this thing might not even work because it's trying to run the RX 580 and it just can't. Yeah. Anyway, I think I'm gonna have to install the drivers and everything in here. Yeah, this thing is just not running. Okay, we're gonna have to shut this thing down. So I need to install drivers and everything for this server board. Otherwise, it's just not gonna be able to function properly. All right, here we go. So for Mark, the RX 580, or yeah, 580 is a piece of trash from AMD that refuses to run. There we go. To change the refresh rate. All right, so the GPU-Z or the firmware doesn't even see the graphics card, so it's not gonna run this. Valley is also running off of the RX 580, and the stupid RX 580 being AMD piece of trash. It just does not want to run, just doesn't want to show me the display. All right, so we're gonna try to run Luxmark. That one will detect. I just want to see. I'm just trying to see like literally anything on the screen. I want to see some changes in the GPU-Z. There we go. That's exactly what I wanted to see. I wanted to see clock rise as the seeing being rendered, and the AMD being AMD keeps messing up the refresh rate. So unfortunately, I have to switch. And so if we were to start, I think it's already running. I just can't. Yeah, we need to disconnect that one. Okay. Okay, I don't know why this thing keeps doing what it's doing. See if I can switch to a 30 hertz or something. So yeah, it's definitely AMD is giving me trouble, but I do know for a fact that the Blackwell is working. And special thanks to AMD, I can't even get a steady image on the screen with that. So screw you, AMD. You are nothing but trouble. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this out because I can't really run anything continuously changing the display. So I'm gonna shut this thing down before I lose my mind and give the customer good news that his GPU is actually fixed and I didn't even know it. So hopefully this was educating. This was definitely not one of them entertaining videos, but it was educating for me and hopefully for you as well. Jeez, this thing is hot. Kind of wonder why. Okay, yeah, definitely GPU from AMD is giving us trouble here. So I'm gonna have to ditch that and put something else in here, like an A2000 would be nice. Either way, hopefully I'll see you later. Goodbye.